Let's get into the action on a Monday morning. Our knuckles cracked and we're ready to roll. But please, feel free to drop a comment or two on all socials. That's where we're streaming from. Our first story definitely would be one that has made the rounds from the entire, or all over, throughout the weekend, if you want to put it that way. But let's start off first with one very interesting story. And not every time people would say, you guys are always looking out for this particular type of story, but let's start with this one. Over the weekend, authorities arrested some people for allegedly creating what they call illegal U-turn along the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Road and collecting money from motorists to use them. Benga, this is a fallout from what we've done.
I think you raised this question so many months ago.
So many months ago. The three out of all that were arrested, 3 of them among 12 suspects arrested over alleged vandalism and other unauthorized activities on the highway as the federal government moves to tighten enforcement along the road. Don't forget that they have coastal guards, coastal road guards, Lagos Ibadan road guards. But with people allegedly creating their own openings and charging motorists to use them, how did this become possible in the first place, you may ask? And what does it say about the monitoring, I beg your pardon, of a road that is supposed to be one of Nigeria's major highways? Just take a look at the road you can see there on the screen. That's the coastal, Lagos-Calabar coastal highway. And people have been nabbed, have been caught. Remember, a few months ago, about 4 months ago here, we did our own private investigation, and then we put it out there on television, alerting the government of what was happening, how they were destroying the infrastructure and creating illegal U-turns. But let's get to see what people are saying about this. Like we did mention, some persons were caught, and it was a good development, guys, that eventually, while Benga is still complaining about the bad roads, I think Lagos State decided to listen to what we had said 4 months after. It may take long, but 4 months, as long as they've caught them. But we're still going to apply this route to...
Kudos should be given to. Is it Lagos State government or the Ministry of Works?
Absolutely.
Let's eat or not eat another person's glory.
Let's see the video. Let's see the video. Let's get to see what it looked like.
We have another three of them here that created illegal U-turn on the coastal road. They were like collecting money. They give U-turn to people, and then they collect money from them. All of this is not tolerated on the coastal road. And let me use this medium also to announce to Lagosians and Nigerians, we don't want trailer to park on coastal road. Coastal road is not a trailer park. It is a super highway. You enter it from Eko Atlantic and you go straight to Calabar. If you are dropping in Ogun State, you stop. You are dropping in Akwa Ibom, you are dropping in all the 9 states that this road is going to pass. So there's no keke on the coastal road. It's very, very important. If you drive bicycle, if you drive tricycles, you will be arrested. You will be arrested, and it will be confiscated, and you will never see it again. You will never take it back again. Let me announce, we don't want trailer to park on coastal road. We don't want keke on coastal road. Tricycle, we don't want them on coastal road. Illegal U-turn, we don't want them on coastal road. Destitute, we don't want them on coastal road. Rearing of animals, rearing of goats and sheep and cows is banned on coastal road. These are all that we don't want. If your vehicle breaks down, call on the police. They can easily help us. We have road safety there that will help you. But if you leave it there, that vehicle will be towed away.
All right, so that's the riot act being read out there after 3 were nabbed. There's also a video of these guys who definitely were on the floor seated and they were caught. Good development. That's what we're going to start on the Monday morning to say kudos, like we always say, when the government or those who are saddled with the responsibility to do well actually do well. It's our job as a fourth realm of the, or fourth estate of the realm. To actually notify them for the good job they've done. I don't know what you guys have to say about this.
I mean, I believe the gentleman that was speaking there is the controller of the Federal Ministry of Works. And kudos to them, but let's hope it's consistent. And also, there's a problem of vagrants. They've moved them away from that Eco Hotel access. Immediately you get to the coastal road to your left. There used to be a tent city. You know, entire housing community made of tarpaulin.
Yeah.
And that's where some of these guys that vandalize in the night, they go around, they're very familiar with the area. They removed the fences, the manholes, and all of that. But we've not gotten rid of that problem entirely, and it goes to show the problems of social housing and homelessness that we have in this city. So if you go further down that road, they've moved. So they've dispersed them from the kilometer 1 of the coastal highway. They've gone further down. But however, what we need is consistent enforcement, because I mean, there's a high level of poverty, and these people feel, you know, these are low-hanging fruits. These are the only things you can see from that drone shot. They fenced off, so people that are driving on that road won't be able to see what's going on the other side. They fenced parts of the coastal road. But my point is, and also there are different ways to look at it. The coastal road guards, I believe their numbers are small. What the scale of the road and the project in the first place. So they might look at improving their efficiency and that. But so far, so good. Kudos to them. But what the bigger picture is, what would make a grown human being go about selling, stealing scrap metal, vandalizing government infrastructure to sell? It's a poverty problem. And also, they need to find the source, the buyers, the willing buyers that are willing to, you know, buy things that are taking off critical road infrastructure. Once you stop the demand, you will stop the supply chain.
Okay, I'm going to pick up from where Benga left off. Now, in speaking about the coastal highway, first of all, kudos for the arrests that have been made, but I want to start with the sufficiency or otherwise of the coastal guards. Now, the coastal guards were established on the 9th of August, 40 officers for the initial rollout. And those 40 officers are to man a 750-kilometer highway, which means 1 guard per 19 kilometers. Can we guarantee that this number is enough to be able to regulate the amount of damage that is being implemented on that coastal highway? Let me run through some of the things that have happened on the coastal highway between January 2026 and now. So far, we have 1,800 manhole covers stolen, 1 kilometer of Clearview fencing destroyed, 75 directional signs removed since January. These are just some of the things that have happened on that way. So the question is, are these 40 people enough? These 40 trained officers, I believe, are they enough to be able to guard the coastal highway and ensure that we don't see a continuity of these stealings? And like Benga mentioned earlier when he was speaking, he talked about the willing buyers and willing sellers. Who are the people selling these things? Who are the people buying for them? Until we deal with this black market, we'll continue to see a repetition of that. I would say kudos to them, but we need to look at the efficiency of having just 40 people. I'm going to stay with the part that it is initial rollout. So hopefully there will be subsequent people, subsequent guards rolled out to ensure the guarding.
I love the calculations you did with regards to 1 man to the number of kilometers. That's what Burna Boy calls kilometer.
Okay, let's see what Nigerians are saying at this juncture. Let's see what Nigerians are saying very quickly. How Nigerians are reacting to this. In this case, some places requires a local road, additional bridge for residents. Imagine I live in estates beside Elegushi Beach. So you advise me to get a car and take a 5-kilometer U-turn every day just to buy little stuff, go to school or work. Also consider low-income earners along the Ajah axis. I don't want them to use a coastal road either, but at least provide alternative routes.
Well, they'll tell you the Lekki Ekpe is still existing. You can buy that.
But he has a point, and I'm going to explain that later on. But in the course, the turning, before you can get to the turning off the coastal road to say you're going to Jakonde, it has been blocked now. So you have to go further down as if you're heading towards Ibrahim Adesoya to turn. Wow. And that's a big, you're talking about fuel, you're burning fuel, you're driving longer distances.
I mean, that's
so is it safe to say that there was not proper thinking or adequate planning in the
that's why it's called a highway. If you're on the Autobahn in Germany, it will take quite a long time. You have to get to an exit or a bridge to make a U-turn. Yeah. That's why it's called, it's a super highway. Cars are not made, it's not your commercial, I'm going to buy groceries,
but there should be
go in and out.
So what you're saying is...
Yeah, but they're turnings, it's just that they're further down.
But the turning is quite a distance.
Well, then...
But you cannot neglect the fact that there are adjoining areas that are linked along and communities. What's happening now is these communities have been completely cut off. However, if you want to connect to these communities, you have to go further down to turn. And that's what people are talking
So
about.
that means it goes back to what I'm saying, that maybe, is it safe to say maybe there wasn't adequate planning in establishing that? That's one. Then two, it doesn't justify the people breaking down these roads to create an artificial U-turn.
Illegal U-turns.
It's really sad.
And then safety too. You can't be slowing down to turn every time. It would hold traffic and traffic will move. And for those real estate men and entrepreneurs that were shouting, you're 2 minutes from Coastal Highway view, well, you can't eat your cake and have it. Enjoy.
Let's see.
Petrol.
Anyway, let's go back to
As
what
you are
Nigerians are
renting
saying.
your house. Let them give you 50 kg of petrol.
Yeah, that's harsh. He lost me at, you moved from Echo Atlantic straight to Calabar. Which Calabar is he talking about? Because Coastal Road
in Calabar.
presently ends at Lagos, at Ekpe. It hasn't even got into Ogun State.
No, it's in
the way
Ogun State.
politicians
Yeah,
and government officials lie is unbelievable.
They are
Please,
way into
Benin,
Ogun
Warri,
State.
Port Harcourt to Calabar Road that already exists. And that is a major conversation that people are talking about. You can't make such a statement without a highway code or law to back it up. That's another angle. See this one. So I cannot ride a bicycle on the walk. And it is a super road. This, well, we wouldn't say it's foolishness. It's a directive, and it's what the road is built for. This one laughs. He says, he's saying Lagos to Calabar Road, we no pass 47.
No, that's not true.
We never even come out for Lagos since 2 or 3 years now. Oof. Okay, a final take. Wait until Abokia Fulanis patrol their cows on the same coastal road, and
that would not happen.
Let's see, they will judge. Well,
that will not happen.
Let's leave that. But just to mention, over the weekend, a guy put out a video. Cows were on the expressway coming down to Wuroshoki. He almost lost his life, and he put out that video on social media. He was screaming and calling Lagos State Governor, "What is going on? How would you allow it?" They were black cows. And it was at night. It was how he said how he survived.
It's a
he
safety
just
hazard.
did not know. He had to park, come out and do a video. But let's move on to our next story. Wake Up Conversation is up and running. Your comments are indeed necessary. Big one.
Can I just read from YouTube as well?
Yeah.
On YouTube, Michael Zu says, the coastal road is the greatest waste of the century. All the installments on the coastal road will be stolen because the police will extort on the road and ignore or even collect roja from scavengers. So good morning. Thank you to our virtual audience. And Mr. Prince Hajibadi, I'll give you a response before the show ends. But yes, these are some of the complaints that we've heard regarding the coastal road. And I think the highlight of it is the fact that there is a character problem. There is a flaw in our society where everyone looks for the slightest opportunity to extort another. This morning on my way to work,
It's poverty.
in front of Freedom Way, Joe, you know this axis very well. Those trailers, you will see that there will be traffic. What is the traffic? Agbero is trying to collect money from them. So they will block the road.
So
literally.
early in the morning.
Early in the morning, as early as 5 a.m. And they're collecting, bribe from them. But let's move away from, the moral decadence that has then been displayed on the coastal way to what some have called another moral decadence in our government. How does a government office that doesn't officially exist end up with space inside the office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation? That is the question that is coming out now. And you would think I'm talking about the PFIPC. No. This is the latest twist in the Gbajagate scandal. It is an offshoot of the Gbajagate scandal. Now, this discovery was made during the ongoing investigation into the controversial Presidential Foreign Intervention Promotion Council, PFIPC. And it has now led President Bola Tinubu to order the arrest of Prince George Buchi Nwabueze and suspend 3 permanent secretaries. Now, beyond the arrest and suspension, this raises a bigger concern about how much oversight there really is within government offices, because if an unauthorized agency could secure office space inside the SGF's premises, who approved it? Who knew about it? And could there be more than we simply haven't discovered yet? And just to mention that the name of this agency is the National Brands Development and Made in Nigeria Special Project Office. The promoter is Prince George Nwabueze, and the permanent secretaries who were fired are MS Danjuma, Nadungu Gagare, Richard P. Filangwa. Now, here we see a letter. In the letter, this Prince George Nwabueze has pushed back, denied the allegations of illegality or fakeness that has been ascribed to this agency, stating that it's a legal agency that was established, and now the cankerworm has been opened. Gentlemen?
I think we should look at what the ICPC boss had to say about the another alleged fake agency again. In his statement, he said another one was uncovered. And you begin to wonder, how many fake agencies do we have? But just to mention quickly, you had talked about the letter we showed on the screen. There has been a pushback from the DG himself, and he said it's not fake. Apparently, he says the agency had already existed before President Bola Tinubu actually came to office. But let's get to listen to the ICPC boss, and then we can dissect some more.
By ICPC to Mr. President on the ongoing investigations into the fake Presidential Foreign Intervention Promotion Council, PFIPC, and procedural weaknesses in the public service, the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, has uncovered another fake agency and office operating under the name National Brands Development and Mandates in the Nigeria Special Project Office, which had been illegally allocated office space within the premises of the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation. In light of the above, Mr. President has directed that the ICPC provide information surrounding this development in the spirit of transparency and accountability. The discovery of the fake office/agency, National Brands Development and Made in Nigeria Special Project Office by the ICPC was made in the course of ICPC's broader investigation as earlier directed by Mr. President, His Excellency President Bola Tinubu, GCFR. The fake agency/office, National Brands Development and Made in Nigeria Special Project Office, was promoted by one George Buchi Nwabwezi, with active suspected collaborators in the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, contrary to the external laws and without authorization of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The promoter, George Buchi Nwabwezi, was discovered to also operate under 4 other variations of his name: George Nathan Nwabwezi, Honorable George Buchi Nwabwezi, Prince George Buchi Nwabwezi, and George Buchi and George Nwabwezi. The ICPC has interacted with the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation with a view of ascertaining vital information with regard to the fake agency/office under investigation. I have briefed Mr. President comprehensively on these new developments.
Okay, so apparently what I heard most was almost everybody there was George.
So it's the same person.
Same person.
He just has different aliases. It's just like now.
Like
you can
a
say,
movie, like a
Olive,
movie.
I'm not a fraud, please.
No,
but
just use a movie.
Movie. Arnold Schwarzenegger. Arnold Joe Schwarzenegger. Joe Schwarzenegger. Arnold Joe. Arnold.
One man.
Yeah, so he just used different variations.
At the end of the day, the ICPC boss in this press conference, speaking with so much gusto, like they discovered something major. Well, all the fingers point back to the presidency and to the government. This is an indictment, it's an embarrassment on the federal government of Nigeria. And you might have sacked some permanent secretaries in the federal ministry, but that's not enough. And I think it was just, they happen to be scapegoats, and unfortunately, it's deeper than that.
Yeah.
These are career civil servants that have spent upwards of 20 years in the service. They are guided by rules, and I don't think they'll just wake up one morning and approve things they're not supposed to approve, knowing that their life work is at stake, their reputation. They might not even get a pension, because I think civil service rules, if you're dismissed, you would not be entitled to a pension. So I don't think they'll risk it all for a few millions here and there. So we need to, and I find it really nauseating that the head of an agency or department of government will come out and say, Mr. President has said that we should, did the MD of Central tell us to come and ring bell this morning and speak? Don't you know your work and your primary responsibility? It's really, Mr. President is dealing with a lot. Enough of the eye service, Mr. President said, thoroughly investigate this. This is 2026. We need to drop that. So this is just the beginning. just like the way the Prince Adeyemi case unraveled after several days, we got new information. And I'm happy Prince Nwabweze, or Mr.
That's
is
kickback.
fighting. I don't know why I called him Prince.
No, he's not no Prince.
Yeah, Mr. Nwabweze, kickback. And is, you know, we need to get to the root of this, and it shouldn't be a charade like what we saw with Prince Adeyemi's case.
I mean, just to add very quickly, for Nigerians who are wondering where are these agencies coming from, till date, nobody has heard from the embattled Prince Adeyemi. He has not appeared before the Senate committee to say his own story. He has been told that he can't speak while others have spoken. We still, as journalists who are covering this event and this entire scenario, we're still wondering what the situation really is.
Well, the lawyer
is he going to be allowed to come and speak? He's supposed to be allowed to come and speak because, remember, the ICPC, they said they are done with their own investigation, done, sealed, closed. And
yeah,
they
even submitted an interim report.
Exactly, but how do you submit an interim report when the accused there has not even had a chance
talk to him
to
one-on-one,
speak?
one-on-one.
That's one.
Man to man.
If we go back to what we're seeing here, all right, this is the National Brand Development Made in Nigeria special
creative
project.
And long.
Just to mention, Nwabweze has kicked back. He said, one, it is not an agency. It is an office under the office of the Secretary General of the Federation. It is not an agency. He said it had been in existence for the past 16 years, dated to July 15, 2010. When did President Muhammadu Buhari get into office? If you calculate, add to President Bola Tinubu, who's the current president now, it's not up to 16 years. So he said it had been in existence 16 years, meaning that if you date back, it falls under President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan's, time in office. That's one. Two, if you check, some journalists have gone as far as checking the Appropriation Act of 2026
to see
it is not registered as an agency there. So the ICPC boss, we need to understand how it's being tagged as an agency when the Appropriation Act of the Federal Republic of Nigeria does not term it in quotes to be an agency, rather an office.
All right, there are those who have argued, I mean, just to pick up from where you've left off, yes, it was set up in 2010. We're now 2026, that's 16 years. At the time, Mahmoud Ahmed was SGF governor, President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan was the president at the time. So there are those who argue that it's not, like you said, it's not an agency, that it's, like a committee set up. And the president does have powers to set up a committee without legislative backing, subject to Section 5 of the Constitution. And they can function under the office of the Secretary General to the Federation.
Secretary of the Government.
Secretary of the Government of the Federation. Thank you very much. That being said, the question is, for 16 years, how has this institution, because I don't know what to call it now, whether to call it an agency
an office,
or a committee, how has this office been able to carry out functions? They have staff, they pay people salaries. How have they been able to exist for 16 years, and how are they all of a sudden being found out as a fraud? Does this then point out to a flaw in several systems? And regardless of the fact that many will say was not established in this current administration, but they were inherited, They have an office within the SGF. They have an office allegedly under the SGF. So the question is, how were they able to run? Prince Adeyemi's situation might be actually a blessing in disguise. And if there was a thorough, I would argue that if the Oronsoye report was implemented,
God bless you,
there would have been a lot of exposure that has occurred.
Scrutiny.
Because last year, 2025, President Bola Tinubu gave a committee, he set up a committee and gave them the assignment to ensure the applicability of the Oronsoye report in 12 weeks. For those who don't understand what the Oronsoye report is, basically the suggestion was that we are running an over-bloated government and that a lot of ministries, departments, and agencies need to be collapsed. In the process of doing that, there would have been some thorough investigation that would have been carried out that would let them know this MDA or this ministry or this department or this agency is not legal, it doesn't have federal backing. And there would have been a lot of sweeping that would have been done. We would not have gotten to this. I want to argue that we probably wouldn't have gotten to this. But it's a great step in the right direction that all of this is coming to light. The question is, what are the next steps? What is the latest with Prince Adeyemi? And beyond making these grand announcements in the media, Would we see any arrests? We will see any prosecution? Because if at some point a body or an office touts itself or positions itself in the form of an agency carrying out certain duties that should only have been able to carry it out with legislative backing, at that point, does it then become a crime?
Olive, we've seen the termination of the appointment of 2 permanent secretaries. Is that
3?
3.
Yeah.
Does that mean business, or it's just a cover-up? And what thorough investigation did they do to arrive at the fact that they need to sack these permanent secretaries?
Well, to be honest, at this point, we can't really speak to a lot of that. We're just going to watch. They say in Nigerian Palace, and I say, don't look with it. We're watching, we're asking questions, we're holding the government to account and asking how exactly have these people been able to survive? And does this point to the fact that there's a possibility of other agencies or offices that do not have any legislative backing whatsoever?
And don't forget that the office of the Secretary General of the Federation,
Secretary to the Government of the
Federation.
SGF.
I mean, I was with someone and the person said too many agencies, too many government, sub-government. That's why the Oronsaye report would have knocked off a lot of multiplicity in terms of government agencies and government arms. Like the report said, just make these things, shrink them, let them operate in a simpler term.